बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम।
अल्लाह के नाम से शुरू जो निहायत मेहरबान हमेशा रहम फरमाने वाला है। बेशक हमने आपको हर खैर व फजीलत में बेइंतहा कसरत बख्शी है। बस आप अपने रब के लिए नमाज पढ़ा करें और कुर्बानी दिया करें, ये हदिया तशक्कुर है। बेशक आपका दुश्मन ही बेनस्ल और बेनामो निशान होगा।
मोहम्मद रब्दुन साले, मोहम्मद रब्दुन साले, मन मोहन ने रूप निकाला, उस पे फिदा घर बार। मन मोहन ने रूप निकाला, मन मोहन ने रूप निकाला, उस पे फिदा घर बार। लाग लगी है, आग लगी है, लाग लगी है, आग लगी है, लाग लगी है, आग लगी है, जीना है दुश्वार। मन मोहन ने रूप निकाला, रंग शहाबी नैन गुलाबी, मस्ताना रफ्तार। रंग शहाबी नैन गुलाबी, मस्ताना रफ्तार। सारा जगत है उस पर कुर्बान, सारा जगत है उस पर कुर्बान, उस पर जान निसार। सारा जगत है उस पर कुर्बान, उस पर जान निसार। मन मोहन ने रूप निकाला, जान के क्यों अनजान बने हो, मैं हूँ बड़ी दुखिया। जान के क्यों अनजान बने हो, मैं हूँ बड़ी दुखिया। तुझ बिन बाबल कौनो नहीं है, तुझ बिन बाबल कौनो नहीं है, बैरी है संसार। तुझ बिन बाबल कौनो नहीं है, बैरी है संसार। मन मोहन ने रूप निकाला, तुझ पर अपना तन मन वारूं, फूंक दूं तुझ पर रे। तुझ पर अपना तन मन वारूं, फूंक दूं तुझ पर रे। बेगज हूँ दीवानी तोरी, बेगज हूँ दीवानी तोरी, पीत गले का हार। बेगज हूँ दीवानी तोरी, बेगज हूँ दीवानी तोरी, पीत गले का हार। मन मोहन ने रूप निकाला, सजरिया सोनी पड़ी है, अब आजा दिलदार। कब से सजरिया सोनी पड़ी है, अब आजा दिलदार। मनमोहन ने रूप निकाला, जैसे जले है बन की लकड़ी, ऐसे जलती जाऊं। जैसे जले है बन की लकड़ी, ऐसे जलती जाऊं। जान चली है बन कर आंसू, जान चली है बन कर आंसू, जान चली है बन कर आंसू। थाम ले ऐ गमखार, जान चली है बन कर आंसू। थाम ले ऐ गमखार। मनमोहन ने रूप निकाला, सारे तेरे दवारे आन पड़ी हूँ, तुझ पे नजरिया बांध खड़ी हूँ। तेरे दवारे आन पड़ी हूँ, तुझ पे नजरिया बांध खड़ी हूँ। फंसी भंवर में मोरी नवैया, फंसी भंवर में मोरी नवैया। पार करो सरकार, फंसी भंवर में मोरी नवैया, फंसी भंवर में मोरी नवैया। पार करो सरकार। मनमोहन ने रूप निकाला, मनमोहन ने रूप निकाला। उस पे फिदा गरबार, लाग लगी है आग लगी है, लाग लगी है आग लगी है। जीना है दुश्वार, मनमोहन ने रूप निकाला, मनमोहन ने रूप निकाला।
لقد من الله على المؤمنين إذ بعث فيهم رسولا من أنفسهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين.
نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على سيدنا ومولانا محمد رسوله النبي الأمين المكين الحنين الكريم الرؤوف الرحيم. أما بعد، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear students and audience, Alhamdulillah Ta'ala, we discussed the categories of Tawhid in our last lecture. The three categories: Tawhid fil Rububiyyah, Tawhid fil Uluhiyyah, and Tawhid fil Tahrim. And then we have already completed the four kinds of Tawheed fil Rububiyyah. And these are Tawheed fil Zat, Tawheed in being, Tawhid fi sifat, Tawhid in attributes, Tawhid fil af'al, Tawhid in actions, and Tawhid fil asma, Tawhid in names. And today, by the grace of Almighty Allah, we are discussing Tawhid fil uluhiyyah and Tawhid fil rububiyyah. This was Tawhid in sustenance. Tawhid fil uluhiyyah means Tawhid in worship. This category of Tawhid consists of 5 types. One is Tawhid fil khalq, Tawhid in creation. Second is Tawhid fil ibadah, Tawhid in worship. Third is Tawhid fil qudra, Tawhid in power and authority. Fourth is Tawhid fil ilm, Tawhid in knowledge. And fifth is Tawhid fil dua, Tawhid in supplication. And as I have already explained, the third category of Tawhid, Tawhid fit Tahrim. This is Tawhid in sacred things. Tawhid in sacred things. This category again consists of 3 kinds and 3 types. The first is Tawhid fit Tahrim. This is Tawhid in sacred prohibitions. Tawhid in sacred prohibitions. This is the first kind of the category. Second is Tawhid fil nuzur, Tawhid in offerings and sacrifices. Tawhid in offering and sacrifices. And third is Tawhid fil half, Tawhid in oaths, oath. The same would be the opposite position in shirk. We have already discussed in our last lecture. I am just briefly repeating it to connect your minds and memories with the last lecture. The same are the 3 categories of shirk: shirk in sustenance, partnership in sustenance, or shirk fil rububiyyah. Shirk fil uluhiyyah, this is partnership in worship, and shirk fit tahrim, partnership in sacred things. And same would be the kinds and types for each category as we have mentioned in case of Tawheed. Now, proceeding further, this fact is to be kept in your mind very clearly, unambiguously, undoubtedly, that shirk is a very specific concept, is a very technical term, and it is never to be taken just as general declaration. So whenever one is supposed to talk on shirk, or whenever anybody levels any kind of fatwa, degree of shirk on any particular aqidah, any particular act, or any particular idea, if the fatwa or degree of shirk is to be leveled, so it should be leveled very technically, very specifically, confining to the category and the kind. You can't say, but just this is shirk in general, in common, as a common concept. As you say, this is good thing, this is bad thing. So good things and bad things, these 2 words have a very broader spectrum. So this is not a matter of a broader spectrum, just you say, and you may level the degree and fatwa of shirk on any act which is prohibited. No, this is not the case. Even if anything, any act is haram in Sharia, so haram would be haram, it cannot be declared as shirk. Because if you say shirk, it means you have declared the performer or committer of that particular act as kafir. You have pushed him out of the ambit of Islam. You have negated his being Muslim. And shirk is rather more serious and more grievous offense as compared to kufr in general. Shirk is the highest and the most serious and grievous form of kufr. An act of haram doesn't make anyone kafir. Haram just makes someone fasik. Haram makes fasik. It comes in front of iman, it comes in front of fard. And kufr come in front of as an opposite of iman. And shirk comes an opposite of Tawhid. Everything has an opposite. For example, I'll give you an example of Islamic jurisprudence, just for the sake of your knowledge, to broaden your concept. In Sharia, for example, a positive act is fard. And it has an opposite side. Its opposite side would be of the same level, of the same status, of the same significance, of the same gravity as in its positive status. Here would be a positive demand to do. Here would be a negative demand not to do. Here you are required to commit anything compulsorily. And here you are required to omit anything, not to commit anything compulsorily. So to bring something opposite as two opposites, it is necessary that both of them should possess the same levels, same gravity, same seriousness, same concern in Sharia, same significance, same grade, and same strength of demand. This is a technical world of Islamic jurisprudence. Demand, it is known as talab. What is known? Demand is a talab. And here is a demand of doing something, and here is a demand of not undoing or not to do something. So if there is a demand of to do, this comes in positive, this is a positive demand. If there is a demand of not to do, this is a negative demand. But both things would come opposite only if they are equal in strength of their demands. Only nature would be different. This would be positive, this opposite side would be negative. But the level of the demand, the strength of demand should be the same, and consequences should be the same. Here in positive side would be the same, and a negative side of the same kind of consequences. So if we say it is fard, I will discuss this detail afterwards when we discuss sometimes the Islamic jurisprudence question, how fard become fard. I will explain to you what daleel is required to declare anything as fard, and what level of daleel is required to declare anything as haram. You can't declare every act which has been disliked in Islam, you can't declare it as haram. Everything is not haram. Why? The answer is, like everything is not fard. Everything is not, every negative thing is not haram. Why? Like every positive thing is not fard. So since the positive demands have a level, in the same way negative demand has also various levels. So the first positive demand is fard, the highest demand, the highest level of demand. So its opposite is haram. Now coming down, the second level of the positive demand act, that is wajib according to Hanafi view. And others, according to other Islamic schools, they declare the practically wajib and first to be equal, same thing. So on the other side, it is makruh tahrimi. Makruh tahrimi. So fard is mandatory and haram is forbidden. The second, you come down and the second grade is wajib. Here, the second grade after haram is makruh tahrimi. So it is not haram. This is in fact makruh, improper or disliked, disapproved. But it is close to haram, near to haram. That's why it is makruh but tahrimi. The third is sunnat muakkadah. The wajib was imperative. Wajib was imperative. And this was strong disapproval, strongly disapproved. The third is makruh, said is sunnat muakkadah. And its opposite is isa'at. Its opposite is isa'at. I have written this thing in detail in my book of some books of Islamic jurisprudence. Isa'at. This is Islam or Maghribi Qanun ka taqabuli, a comparative study of Islamic law and Western law. This is one of my books on Islamic jurisprudence. So farz was obligatory, or I said mandatory, and haram was forbidden. Wajib is, I said, imperative, and its opposite is makruh tahrimi, it is condemned. You may write condemned. Third is sunnat muakkada, it is mandatory recommendation. Mandatory recommendation. You write first the 5 things. The fourth is sunnat ghair muakkada, it is directory recommendation. Directory recommendation. Fifth is mustahab, it is commendable. It is commendable. And write a word in between, center, in the center down, mubah. Yes. This mubah is permissible or indifferent or discretionary. Discretionary. Now opposite sides. Haram was forbidden, it is against, bole, against fard. Makruh tahrimi condemned, this is against, opposite of wajib, imperative. The third is isa'at, opposite of sunnat muakkadah, this is disapproved. Disapproved. Now the fourth is makruh tanzihi. Makruh, small makruh. It is disapproved, it is improper. This is improper. And fifth is khilaful awla. Khilaful awla. This is uncommendable. Uncommendable. And when you come to mubah or jaiz, write 2 words, jaiz or mubah, oblique mubah. Jaiz and mubah. This is permissible or indifferent, discretionary. So this is common for both sides. Neither sawab nor iqab. No reward, no award of punishment, no sawab, nothing. But this is permissible. If you want, it's up to you. You can do it. If you don't want, you don't do it. So there are details Now next, your teacher, whoever is teaching the Islamic jurisprudence, who is teaching? So he will explain now these details from my book. I have mentioned the details. So the same way as you find in Islamic law, these are Darajatul Ahkam, Madarijul Ahkam. These are Madarijul Ahkam. Exactly the same condition. Like you see someone is opposite of farz and opposite of wajib and all this. The same way you go upwards. The highest level in Islamic laws or ahkam of Sharia starts from farz, the highest level. Now if you go upwards, then it becomes Iman. Here is Iman. And the Iman is not the ahkam. The same, I am just explaining the example. When you come to Aqidah, just beginning of a Muslim. So here is Iman, and its negative side and opposite side is Kufr. No. Opposite side is Kufr. When you go in details of Iman, you refine it, you purify it, you go to the details. So when you go to the details of Iman, here is Tawhid. Here is Tawhid. And the opposite side of Tawhid would be Shirk. Now you understand the point? This was the relevance of these Madarijul Ahkam. Now you will understand why I am specifying on this. You can't put Shirk against Fard, or at the same time you can't declare any haram as Shirk. You can't declare any Isa'at as Shirk. You can't declare any Makruh Tahrimi as Shirk. You can't declare any Makruh Tanzihi as Shirk. You can't declare any Khilaful Awla as Shirk. And you can't declare any Mubah and Jaiz as Shirk. Shirk is Shirk. It will come into existence only when Tawheed is negated. Shirk will take place only when there is categorical rebuttal and negation of Tawheed. Are you clear now? Now coming to the next, categories and kinds of Tawheed and categories of kinds of Shirk. When you have understood that Shirk is a specific term, it is not a general term. That just, it is not like a cap you put on anybody's head. It is a specific thing. So in order to establish the fact that this is Shirk, first of all you have to establish that its opposite, a Shirk's opposite side is Tawheed. And its negation would be Shirk. Or the correct version of this aspect would be Tawheed. Now you have to become more specific after that. That Shirk would either be in Rububiyyah or in Uluhiyyah or in Tahrim, like the case of Tawheed. And then if it is in Rububiyyah, then Shirk should be either in being of Almighty Allah, or in attributes of Almighty Allah, or in actions of Almighty Allah, or in names of Almighty Allah. So you have to further specify the Shirk within that particular category. If the Shirk is of the category of Rububiyyah, then next question would arise that which type of Shirk in Rububiyyah has been committed. It should be specified, it should be clarified, it should be confined, and it should be defined. Unless it is defined and confined and specified, so the fatwa would be just an ambiguous and vague fatwa. So you have to clarify that either it is in Allah's being or in Allah's attributes, Allah's actions or Allah's names. Now coming to the second category, which is the subject of today. If it is shirk in uluhiyyah, then there should be clear specification. So if it is shirk in uluhiyyah, then you have to specify whether this shirk is in khalq, in creation, or this shirk has occurred in ibadah, worship, or in power and authority, or in knowledge, or in supplication. So you have to check that which article of Tawhid, which category, and then which type or which article of Tawhid has been negated, has been affected. Just a sin, just a haram, an unlawful act, just even an innovation itself cannot become a shirk unless that particular condition is fulfilled. There should be a categorical violation of a specific article of Tawhid. Only then the shirk would exist. So what you have to do, methodology of confronting a shirk attack, methodology of confronting a shirk attack. So I have already explained that if someone claims that an act is shirk, so firstly he should be asked which category of Tawhid has been infringed or has been negated, has been negated. If he specifies the category of Tawhid and ultimately specifies the category of shirk, the next question should be put on him. That which type, which specific kind, and which specific article of Tawhid has been infringed, has been violated. You should ask him. Which specific type? After specifying the category, then come to the type, the kind, specific article, which article of Tawhid has been violated. Only then we would be in a position to accept that claim as shirk. And if that particular type and that particular article of Tawhid which has been violated is specified, is pinpointed, then next step, next question would be asked, what is the dalil? What is the evidence? Now the evidence and dalil means, you know, as the opposite of Tawhid article is shirk article, in the same way opposite of shirk article is Tawhid article. So dalil and evidence is that in order to establish, when you reach up to that level, somebody says that this particular article or type of Tawhid has been violated, then you have to establish first that particular aqidah or that particular commandment or that particular article of faith, article of which has been infringed or which has been violated. Now he is responsible to establish this fact that that particular article of faith was Tawhid. That particular article is Tawhid. Unless the right or article of faith infringed, unless the article of faith violated, unless the article of faith contradicted, is established as Tawhid through Quran and Sunnah, its infringement cannot be declared as shirk. Its violation cannot be declared as shirk. its contradiction cannot be declared as. So, first of all, that particular article which has been infringed requires necessarily to be established as Tawhid through an evidence, through Quranic dalil, dalil of Sunnah, dalil of Quran, that this is Tawhid. It may be anything else. It may be just an act of sawab. It may be just a sunnah. It may be an act commendable, mustahab. It may be many positive. It may fall within any positive category or any positive purview or any positive orbit of act. It may not be Tawheed necessarily. So unless it is categorically and positively proved that the article of faith infringed, article of faith violated, article of faith negated is Tawheed through an evidence of Quran and Sunnah, the infringement cannot be declared as shirk. The violation cannot be declared as shirk. The negation and contradiction cannot be declared as shirk, because the act negated can be an act of sawab. It can be a fard. It can be an act of sunnah. It can be a commendable act. It can be a mandatory, recommendatory sunnah act. So if sunnah is negated, it is not shirk. Negation of sunnah is not shirk. Negation and contradiction of fard is not shirk. Contradiction of mustahab is not shirk. Because contradiction of fard is haram. Contradiction of sunnah is either makruh tahrimi or isaat, is condemned or disapproved. Contradiction of mustahab commendable is uncommendable. So everything possesses its own, everything is in pair, its own opposite. You can't change the opposites, you can't change the levels, you can't change the grades. So that's why I mean that if somebody says the next question that this is shirk, after specifying the category of Tawheed and shirk, and then specifying and confining to the kind, type and article of Tawheed and shirk, the next thing is dalil. What is dalil of shirk? Evidence. So dalil means that he is responsible to establish the fact that the act of faith which has been infringed or violated is Tawheed, and these are the arguments and evidences of its being Tawheed. Only then this would be considered as shirk. These are three questions. Now fourth. This is the methodology of confronting a shirk attack. The fourth question which you have to ask is, now come on, what is Tawheed? How to establish a particular act of faith as Tawheed? The only thing necessarily required is that act which has been infringed should be a right of Allah. That should be a right of Almighty Allah. And that should not be a common right, it should be an exclusive right of Almighty God. Exclusive right of divinity. Exclusive divine right of Almighty Allah. An exclusive divine right of Almighty Allah, which is just confined to His attribute, to His existence, His being. And it is never